If you are looking to get on the buy to let kind of mortgage, if you are looking to buy to let, don't forget that I discussed types of mortgage the last time, the private and the commercial. The private, which is a buy to live in, and the other one, which is the buy to let. So if you are looking to get into this buy to let, which I think some people are interested in because probably they have their property where they live in now, but they want to buy another one to let out, on commercial purpose. You understand? So if you are looking to get on that particular kind of mortgage, this video is for you. Or perhaps you already have the property on buy to let. This video might equally help you. I just want you to listen and pay attention to this. Listen, I will advise you to request the service of a letting agent if you are looking to get on this buy to let kind of mortgage. I will request to get the service of a letting agent. Now, the letting agent will ensure that any tenant that wants to live in that property will sign all the necessary and appropriate documents before they can be handed over the keys. There are some people, there are some tenants, they can't be bothered. Just like you can see on the screen, it's an indication that some properties has been damaged. This is not the first of its kind. We have this all the time where tenants live in specific properties and they damage the property within the space of 1 year or two. You understand? You don't want to spend thousands of pounds every year to renovate a property and you're not even making anything close to that. You understand? And that's the reason I would advise you to request the service of a letting agent. Some of these tenants, some tenants, not all of them, some tenants, they live in your property because they believe that since they've paid you the rent, they can live in the property anyhow they choose, anyhow they like. If anything is destroyed, they can't be bothered. Some of them will even nail the walls. Some of them, they damage the kitchen. Some of them do all sorts of things. They can't be bothered. All that they are bothered about is the rent they pay every month because they believe that that rent is enough for them to damage anything in the property. You understand? Some of them, they don't have this maintenance culture. Some of them, if they see that something is wrong, to correct it in that property is a problem for them. They will say, it's not my property. If it's spoiled, I'll call the landlord to come and fix it. Some of them, if they are looking at something that is about to go wrong, the habit to correct it, is not in them. They don't have that particular habit to correct it. Though, yes, you collect the deposit from them. Though the deposit is not going to go to you as a landlord or as a letting agent. It's going to go to the TDS, which is the tenancy deposit scheme. That is where it's going to go to. But just in case something that is damaged in that property is more than the deposit, what do you do? What do you do? All of these things you need to have at the back of your mind. And perhaps if you're a tenant, let me first of all say, because some tenants, they can eat anywhere that is dirty, they don't care. They can eat in the kitchen. They themselves and dirt, they are 5 and 6. If the kitchen is dirty, they can eat in the kitchen. If the room is dirty, they can't be bothered. If anything is broken in the house, even to pick up a phone to report to the landlord or letting agent is a big problem. Now, considering the picture you are seeing on the screen, these are samples of specific properties that have been damaged over the time. You understand? And more are still being damaged, on a regular basis. And you don't want to join the league of these people that are actually spending thousands of pounds every now and then to fix things in your property. And that's the reason why I'm requesting that you get the service of a letting agent to help you to look after your property very, very well. You understand? And if you're a tenant, perhaps you don't know that is actually an offense to vandalize. Okay? If anything is spoiled in a particular property where you live, it is your duty and your responsibility to report to the landlord or to the letting agent that your dishwasher is not working, your washing machine is broken, you need to report it. Even if the item or whatever is damaged in the property by you still have to take responsibility and report to the owner of the property or to the letting agent. Now, if you're a tenant, let me quickly read this to you so that you understand that is a very, very bad habit to deliberately damage people's properties in the UK. And if you are living in a property, you own it, the responsibility to maintain that property itself. Now, if a tenant damages a rental property in the UK, the net tenant is responsible for the damage and should report it to the landlord as soon as possible. Here are some of the tips for dealing with a tenant who has damaged a property. Tips to deal with a tenant who has damaged a property. Now, report the damage. The tenant should report the damage and communicate with the landlord about how to fix it. Okay? Now, take action. That's the next one. the landlord can deduct the cost of the damage from the tenant's deposit. If the cost of repairs exceeds the deposit, I made mention of it. If what has been damaged in that property exceeds the deposit, forget the deposit, forget the 1 month rent, 1 month deposit. Some things could be damaged in your property that is more than 5 month rents. Now listen to this. The landlord can deduct the cost of the damage from the tenant's deposit. If the cost of repair exceeds the deposit, the landlord can take legal action for damages up to £3,000. The landlord can use the small claims court. Okay? Now listen to this last one. Evict the tenant. Evict the tenant. The tenancy is ending soon. The landlord can issue a Section 21 notice to evict the tenant. All of these things may not come easy. All right? Especially when it comes to the area of evicting tenants and all of that, may not come easy. What is of paramount importance is that, first of all, if you are taking any tenant, that's the reason why I said the letting agent will go through the rudiment, through the prerequisite of getting someone to live in that property. They will go through the vetting, they will go through the checks, they will go through the referencing, because they have to submit referencing from their previous landlord. Okay, so if you are the type that you're a tenant and you love to damage things in people's properties, okay, when you are going to rent the next house, the next room where you want to live, the letting agent of the new house you want to take now has the right to conduct what is called the vetting, or request that you submit a reference or get a reference from your previous landlord. So you have to take this very seriously. Otherwise, you'll be spending thousands of pounds every now and then to fix things in the property.